very deep question to ask non-Black people, people of color, whether you're Asian, Hispanic, or white. Why haven't you embraced your racial slur that applies to your race or ethnicity like Black people have? Why do you insist on saying my or using the N-word amongst each other or around other Black people? Because it's 2024, and here on Google, you can find on Wikipedia a list of ethnic slurs that applies to your race and ethnicity. And I would share all of them that I found, but we're on TikTok. And the people at Wikipedia, they even put it in alphabetical order for you. And I thought about this question because I was on the bus the other day. There were a whole bunch of Hispanic teenagers that came on the bus, and immediately they started saying my N-word this, my N-word that to each other. Like, why aren't they saying my? And that lame excuse as to why you use the N-word is so tired. You know, the one that you say, oh, well, I was raised around Black people. Well, if you want to use that logic, those Black people were raised around you. So the same way you can use the N-word around them, they should be able to use your racial slur around you. And I challenge Black people who have Asians, white people, and Hispanic friends that use the N-word to ask them, why are they so uncomfortable using the racial slur that applies to their race and ethnicity, but they're very comfortable using the racial slur that applies to you?
Sensational. Let me tell y'all something. This is a conversation that a lot of people are not ready to have. If you go ask the Africans, if you go ask the Asians, if you ask the Arabs, if you ask the Latins and the Mexicans, everybody's going to state that, oh, well, again, like she stated, I was raised around Black people. I grew up, my family is Black, and, I love the culture and the music. I don't mean no disrespect or anything like that. Or some areas such as New York and areas of California, and I think also Florida, and I think maybe even Texas. There are certain areas around the country where Black people are like, yo, if they cool around me, they can sit up there and say it because we all family, we all from the same place and the same. Like you'll have Black people that will sit up there and state that. And I just want to state again to those Black people, you better make sure to send a warning directly out to those folks that, hey, you can say that around you, but don't go across America visiting other places thinking that it's all completely fine to say those things, because everybody is not the same from where you are. I just want to make that very clear. Everybody is not the same from where you are. So if you got your buddies from New York and Cali and from Texas and from Florida, do not sit up there and send them on a dummy mission going to places like Chicago and elsewhere across the country into Black hoods, thinking that it's okay for them to sit up there and say that just because they got you as a Black friend. Don't do that. Don't ever be that stupid. Please don't. Please don't, because I'm telling you, you are sending them people directly on a dummy mission. But back to the question, right, that she stated to everybody, right? Why is it that other races out there don't specifically use the word that specifically describes their people in a positive light? Why don't they try to use that as an everyday occurrence? Why is everybody's go-to, oh yeah, I'm about to use this, or I'm about to, yeah. You're not even, you don't even have any type of history. You don't have any type of context. You're just using it because you think that is cool, because you've heard Black people sit up there and use it. You've heard it from your Black favorite artist. You might have heard it from some of your Black friends. That's all you got. Other than that, you have no context. You have no blood relation, no type of bloodline. You don't have no history directly to this. You have no attachment. So when Black people happen to hear you use it, yeah, it's a sign of disrespect, because it's like, yo, what is you doing? Because as a sign of respect from Black people, we refrain from using words that are placed out there in order to negatively describe people of other nationalities, of other groupings. We make sure not to do that out of respect, because we can empathize, we can understand. But as I stated before, the moment in time that Black people showcase that they care, and Black people out of every single, person, ethnicity group, on this planet, we care way more than what we should. And because we're way too nice, this is why black people are the main ones to always get mistreated whenever things take place. This is why you have everybody of every single group wanting to use this one word. Now, note that you got tons of other words directly out there. And some races, some ethnicities, there's a multitude of words directly up there that one could actually use. But none of those people out there, none of those groups out there decide that they want to use those words or that they want to word swap. Right? Whenever they want to decide to do some rap, they make sure that they want to sit up there and drop a certain word directly in there that has no relations to their group or their people or any type of historical context. They make sure to sit up there and put that word directly up there. I even showcased a video directly on my IG where you had some K-pop performers, as of recent times, actually dropping that exact same word in one of their songs. And they did this in the United States. So again, it's completely baffling to me, but it's not so baffling because I understand the fact that they know the historical context. They know how much those words hurt. So because they actually have the history, because they actually have the context of those words, because they were actually taught the meaning of those words and how those words actually hurt their people and what it's actually done to their people, the psychological effect, they refrain from sitting up there using it out of respect for their culture. And those same people that respect their culture don't have respect for black people or their culture. Because if they did, they would treat this the exact same way that they treat the words of their culture, of their people. If they actually loved black people as much as they loved black culture, they would show that type of respect. But at the end of the day, the people who decide to use it, who want to sit up there and use it, are literally showing black people every single day how much they care oh so little about them, how much consideration that they actually give towards the struggles, the pain, the suffering, the history of black people in America. And I completely understand where some black people are like, hey, we just need to get rid of the word in general. It's a negative word. There's no way that you can sit up there and flip it. There's never no good context directly to it. Yada yada yada. I completely get that. But again, if that's what black people in the black community want to do, that is up for them to sit up there and do it. In the exact same token as people say that you can't flip this, it's the exact same way that women decide to flip certain words that are negative or demean them in a certain type of way, and then they sit up there and use it to quote unquote empower themselves. They take the possession back of the word to basically empower themselves, to take off that whole negative thing. Right? It's the same vein as which women have, in a sense, done as well. They do that in rap and different songs as well. Right? And the same thing with black people when they happen to use it in certain songs and yada, yada, yada. Right? It can be used as a positive or a negative. All I'm simply stating is that anytime that I happen to hear people of other races using this, I'm hearing the negative. Because again, I don't know who you are. Right? Never seen you before. I don't know your history. I don't know what connections you have with other people. I don't know if you mean me well or if you mean me negative. I don't even know in the specific exact contents of how it is that you even mean that. Because like I said before, you can say a lot of things with a certain tone and everything completely changes. So, like I said before, I feel like this should be a challenge to black people. The moment in time that you start hearing anybody that you know within your circle who is not black using certain terminology, you should turn around and flip the script directly on them and watch their face. And I promise you, the funniest thing is a lot of people are going to be so taken off guard, and then it's going to start turning into a whole anger and frustration because they know that they're wrong in doing what it is that they did, but they're looking at what you did and said is even more wrong than what it is that they just did. It's crazy. It's crazy how these things happen and take place. But like I said before, I would love for this to be a conversation. We people really need to. This should be a podcast right there. That's an idea for whoever is directly out there. Make that into a podcast. Start going across the country and start asking a lot of these other groups who like using a certain word, why don't they use the word that describes their people? Bring the list. Tell them to pick out a word and tell them to say it in a positive way. I bet you they can, and I bet you they won't.